This video covers a couple of issues around Timbrell Park on Henley Marine Drive, and this was filmed on a Sunday when there's quite a bit of parked cars around. So what we're mainly going to be looking at here is the problem of cars parking across the ramps leading up to the bike path or close to them, giving you pretty awful sight lines. So this is what it normally looks like on a Sunday. There's lots of people down here at Timbrell Park either playing baseball or they're at Libby's place, and you can see there's lots of bike parking at the front of Libby's place, lots of kids in there, no bikes parked there. Sometimes you will see families there with bikes, young kids, there'll be 3 or 4 of them, but really you've got to be pretty brave to ride along here with kids. You've got this really good sports facility there on the right hand side, and it's too dangerous to ride there. And I'll say that quite honestly. It's really not a nice place to ride down, say from 5 Dock to Libby's place with kids. All this money's been spent on a wonderful facility and you can't enjoy it unless you drive down here, and hence you've got lots and lots of pressure on parking down here. Now there is a ramp here, and unusually today it's not parked in. There's only one car here and they're only parked partly across the ramp, not and look, there's a tiny little gap you've got to go through. And you'll come down here quite often, you can't actually find the ramp because it's just lost between parked cars. There should be at least one car space either side, which is no parking, so you can not only firstly you can see it, but secondly you can exit out of here. Now what I've done is I've come out onto the road, pulled out my iPhone and filmed to the right from my eye level, and that's what we'll be seeing next, because I'm just under 6 feet tall and I couldn't see over this parked semi SUV type thing to my right to see what was coming from that direction. You can see, all I can see is the roof line essentially. You can barely see cars coming at you because this thing just fills your sight line. And this is not a tall 4-wheel drive. It's not a Land Cruiser or a Land Rover or anything like that. It's just a pumped up Camry type thing. Now if my wife is down here with the kids and she's 6 inches shorter than me, there's just no way in hell she could see over that vehicle. My youngest kid couldn't see over it. So you got this issue of, well, if you've got kids coming out of there, how do they come out safely and see traffic coming from either side? Because usually you've got a car parked on your left as well and you can't see either way. So this is why I'm getting at, there should be great big dirty X boxes parked on the painted on the road on either side of these ramps to stop drivers parking like that. And there's another one up here which I go in every morning on my way to work. And try and imagine riding along here in the dark at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. There's not a hell of a lot of street lighting. There's almost no warning coming up to this this turn here. I'll have my right arm out, and I'm hoping like hell that a driver coming up behind me doesn't try and overtake me, because it has happened. That they want to do 50, 60 kilometers an hour along here. Thankfully, those ones are a bit patient, and they'll pull out and they try to overtake you. And you imagine what it's like being smacked into from behind as you're turning by someone who's accelerated up to say 60 kilometers an hour. Now here's the next big wish list for cyclists in the area. Yes, this is a great crossing that's been put in the last year or so, but this really should be a pedestrian crossing, and often you'll have cars parked right across here, not parked, stopped right across here because they're banked all the way back up from the traffic lights. And so, what's the issue with putting in a pedestrian crossing here and forcing drivers to stop? And what we're going to see as we turn left here is a whole bunch of drivers stopped on the other side of this roundabout, because of course they have to give way to cars coming down, is that First Avenue or Heath Street there. So if people have to stop here, and there we go, there's one motorbike, 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars, 6 cars, 7 cars, 8 cars, there's a 9th one pulling up, there's a 10th one, and here we have a reverse angle, and they're all going to have to sit there and wait to get through the roundabout. So what's the major issue with having those same people stop to let pedestrians cross the road safely? This is a major crossing point for pedestrians and cyclists getting to and from the bay, yet there is just nowhere safe down here to cross the road.